I think sometimes money is demonized. People look at it and they say, oh, it's the root of all evil. Being a great lawyer and making a ton of money should not be mutually exclusive things. When you are helping others succeed and you're helping them win, you're able to help people in your community and serve so many clients. You're helping your team succeed. You're helping them grow and develop in their careers. They're able to buy homes. They're able to pay off debt. And you're impacting so many people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with you becoming more well-resourced. I'm Michael Mogill, founder and CEO of Crisp, the nation's #1 law firm growth company. I've built my business through practice, not theory. Crisp started with just $500 to my name and has grown to over 8 figures in revenue over the last few years, earning a spot on the Inc. 500 list of the fastest growing private companies in America. Our approach has been to take everything we've learned about generating massive growth within our own organization and help the country's most ambitious and committed law firm owners do the same for theirs. In each episode of this podcast, I sit down with innovative market leaders from the legal industry and beyond to learn from those who thrive in the face of adversity, challenge the status quo, and define what it means to be a true game changer.
This is Jessica, Head of Coaching Strategy at Crisp, and today we're flipping the script for another special edition episode to get Michael's take on how to indulge without feeling guilty and still grow your business, why spending on yourself becomes an investment in your business and when it doesn't, and how to confidently own your success without worrying about what others think.
You started this business, you took all the risk, you've made, so much sacrifice. Anytime you've been wrong, you've lost money, and you, against these odds that are not very good, you've built a successful firm and you've supported the livelihoods of so many other individuals. You've helped your clients win, you've impacted your community, and you happen to like cars. So you go out and buy yourself something nice, and if you roll up and your team resents you, well, maybe it's a problem with them.
That's coming up on the Game Changing Attorney podcast. Okay, here we are with AMMA.
Another episode where you guys all submit the questions and then we answer them here on the show. And we're in my favorite month. October's my favorite month because Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love Halloween. It's different when you're an adult versus when you're younger. And I actually think that it gets better and better and better. Now,
it's different as an adult with children.
When you're young, you're dressing up and you're trick-or-treating. And then as you get older, then you start going to Halloween parties, right? People looking all scandalous. And then as you get even more mature, which to me is the best part, then you get to go trick-or-treating with your kids. And then they dress up and the whole family dresses up. And usually it's like themed out, right? So we'll go as a family.
So last year you were Bowser.
I was
Mario.
Bowser with the whole Mario theme. You were Peach and then
I was not Peach. The princess herself was Peach.
The oldest was Peach, and then you were Mario.
I was Mario, and then we had Toad.
It's amazing to see the joy that they have when they're going and trick-or-treating and just going like door to door. And I mean, I want to go all out. So this year we're doing a Bluey theme. Fantastic show, by the way, for anybody has young children. Even if you don't, I think it's a great show.
Great show.
It's like these 7 or 8 minute episodes that just have so much wisdom in them. It's just so positive and good. So we watch them every night. We're going as the Healer family.
Yes, so we are.
We got Bluey, Bingo, Chili, and the dad, Bandit. So I'm very excited about that. And
yes,
we've gone a little bit over the top. Like there's costumes you can get at Party City, and there's costumes you can make yourself. And then there's Disney style costumes. Like if you see like the characters at Disney World, then you can get one of those. Since we've gotten to where we are today, I'm the type of person where I like to have like the Disney costume, and if we're going to hand out candy, let's do like the giant size bars. Let's go over the top, right? Let's be that house. Because you can bring joy to another child's life. I've got my girl, also named Jessica, who's done costumes over the years, and she's working on a custom costume now of the dad from Bluey. So
yeah, you're probably one of her top customers. We've done
Olaf,
Peppa
Pig, Mario and Luigi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we've done
Bandit.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're running out of space for these things.
And they're kind of like one-time use costumes too. So if anybody wants to rent a costume for a birthday party, well, then I have several that are sitting in storage that have been used one time, and they're like Disney quality costumes. I don't know what to do with them. So if you've got young children, send a text with your question at 404-531-7691.
The question might be, can I borrow the costume?
Can I borrow the costume, right? It could be that. Or it could be something related to the MMA. So for those of you that are tuning into the podcast for the first time, we do 3 types of episodes. There's this AMA. You guys submit the questions, we answer them. Then there's our traditional format. We bring in experts from the legal industry and beyond, like those are like the podcast interviews. And then there's the encore editions. Those are where we bring back some of our most popular episodes. I know this month we're doing something special, something unique, the road to the Game Changer Summit, because we got this little teeny tiny little thing going on in November at the world's largest law firm growth conference on the planet here in Atlanta, Georgia. And we're going to be featuring episodes that we will be bringing back from past speakers, keynote speakers at this year's event, just getting people ready for the summit. So very excited for those episodes. Those will be some encore editions coming up. But let's get to the AMMA. All right, so what questions do we have on the AMMA today?
All right. So quite interesting because there's a few things in here around purchases. So after you just talked about your extravagant costume purchases, that was a perfect segue into this. So question number 1. Michael, I've been in the legal industry for a long time, and over the years, I've made some pretty extravagant purchases. Cars, trips, designer clothes, you name it. But sometimes I feel guilty and wonder if these purchases were really worth it or if I'm just trying to keep up with the Jones. How do you know when it's okay to indulge versus when it's just feeding into a bad habit? Like, who are you doing it for?
Yeah, I mean, chances are if you're asking this question, you probably already know the answer to it. But at the same time, I mean, it's your money and you can do what you want with it. That said, the interesting thing of having done over 300 podcast episodes and having the opportunity to interview some of the most successful law firm owners in the country, like the market leaders, is that you start to see certain trends. And I can tell you with every single one of them, like there's like this tale as old as time of how they became a market leader. It's interesting. Like these guys don't, a lot of them don't even know each other. They're in different markets, even different practice areas. And yet their come up story in terms of like how the firm became a market leader, how that firm exploded, there's so many similarities. And the tale goes like this, right? Let's say like a tale of 2 law firm owners, both types of firms, same practice area, same market, right? They're working really hard, both of them hard workers, they're very diligent, sacrificing, et cetera. And then one day, maybe a few years into the practice, maybe 5 years, 10 years, whatever, they hit a big case. And it's a 7-figure case. Now, law firm number 1, this firm owner says, you know what, I've worked really hard. And I've worked hard for many, many years. And now we finally hit a big case and I want to reward myself. And then they go and buy, the house, the cars, the designer clothes, whatever. They buy all that stuff. Law firm number 2, same thing happens to them. They hit the 7-figure case. Like they've also worked hard for many years. And, they look at it and say, you know what? Now that I've got this infusion of cash, I'm going to reinvest it back into the firm. And I'm going to invest it into our infrastructure, into hiring, into marketing. And then you follow along these 2 firms. And let's say 5 years go by, maybe even 10 years go by. Which one do you think is ahead? Is it the one that pulled the money out and then bought a bunch of stuff? Or is it the one that put the money back in? And every single market leader, 100% of the time, like every single one that we've had on the podcast, their story is that they were grinding away and working hard. They finally hit a big case, and then they took that money and reinvested it back into the firm, and they continued to do that process, and now they are the market leader. It depends on what your goals are. If your goal is to grow the law firm, then are you providing sufficient capital and cash infusion and putting enough money back into the firm to support those growth goals? Because the growth of your practice is oftentimes going to correlate to the amount that you're investing in your practice. And if you choose to not invest in the practice, like if you pull every money, every dollar out, and you say, okay, I'm just trying to maximize profit, but I'm going to take this money and I'm going to live a great life. Now, you can absolutely do that. It's your business. I mean, you started a business to do things how you want to do them and make your own decisions. And I'm not even here to judge you. Like, do whatever you want. That being said, in most cases, if you're not investing in the firm is not going to grow just on its own. Maybe you'll have nice stuff, but then you really don't build a really successful growing practice, right? It's going to affect the rate of growth, or it's going to take a lot longer. You could have achieved a much higher growth rate and have grown that firm to a much higher level of also higher profitability in a 5-year span. Or if you keep taking money out, maybe it'll take you 10 years, 15 years. Maybe you're okay with that. So it's really up to you to decide. I'm one of these people where I didn't take a dollar out of the business for years and years and years and years. We didn't pay ourselves. I mean, I think back to those dark ages. I mean, I'm telling you, first 5, 6, 7 years, I've just nothing. I just putting it straight back into the business. We were on less than whatever would be considered minimum wage. They're like, how did you survive? Right? Okay, well, ramen noodles. Okay.
A lot of those.
We like ramen noodles.
Yeah. I highly recommend the rapid ramen cooker.
5-minute rapid ramen cooker. All right. That you just
flashback here.
Yeah. We saw this thing. We're like, oh, is this a little plastic piece, thing that you put in the microwave and then it just heats the ramen and cooks it perfectly. How do you survive? You find a way to survive. All right. And everything you just put back into the business. And I know so many entrepreneurs have done the exact same thing, but then I know the ones that as soon as they made their first dollar, they wanted to live large. All right. And then that became very short-lived. So
It's a function of where are your goals, where are your priorities. If it's growth and it's the growth of the firm, then it's really a function of how much you're investing in the firm and putting every dollar in, right? And I'm a big advocate of that, right? Then there's the whole other side of people in society that say, well, you got to enjoy your life too. I would say, the hard road leads to the easy life. I'm a big fan of delayed gratification. I know some people aren't. If you want to just live it up now and enjoy your life, you're saying, I may not even be around tomorrow. Well, okay, well, then you can take all the money out and go buy dumb stuff. And if that's what makes you happy, then do it. I mean, shit,
you do you.
I'm not here to change your mind or convince you otherwise. I mean, do what you want. I'm just saying that every single market leader that we've spoken to across 300 episodes, all these firms that are running 8 and 9 figure firms in the legal industry, every single one of them continue to reinvest in their firm for years and years and years and years. They didn't even pay themselves. They didn't take any money out for 10 plus years, 10, 15 plus years. And that's how they became so successful, because it was just continually fueling the growth of the firm.
All right, question number 2. Michael, after 15 years of blood, sweat, and tears, I finally hit a major milestone, 8 figures in revenue. To celebrate, I splurged on something I've always wanted, a $30,000 Rolex. But now I'm second guessing the decision and feeling guilty for not reinvesting that money back into the firm. How do you balance rewarding yourself without feeling irresponsible?
Ooh, so now is the nuance.
Yes.
Right? It's like,
yes.
Well,
I did it.
Let's see where he goes with this one, considering the answer I just gave to the last one. It's a good grouping. So there's nuance here. And this scenario is a bit different from the last scenario, because on the sound of it, this person
milestone
has been grinding away for 15 plus years, hasn't rewarded themselves. And then, they look at it and say, they wanted to splurge on the Rolex, and now they feel guilty about it. So the way I would look at this is that there's nothing wrong with wanting what you want. Like even as I was saying to the previous question, and in this case, it's like you do have to celebrate wins, because if you never celebrate the wins, then sometimes the victory doesn't feel as sweet. And I'm one of the people that is very guilty of this. So many times, we'll hit certain milestones and I'll say, great. And people are like, oh, we should celebrate. Or we should do something. Let's go to dinner. We should reward ourselves in some way. And I'm like, yeah, I'm good, whatever. But I've realized it's actually important to celebrate the wins and milestones, because you want to have that right feedback loop of just when something good happens and you hit some goal, that there's positive reinforcement as opposed to nothing. You just keep pushing through.
It's gotta be worth it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I do think that, celebrating is important. I will say that in this instance, I don't think there's anything wrong with rewarding yourself with with this Rolex. Being a watch guy myself, I'd say those hold pretty good value anyway. Yeah. So, I mean, if you had to sell it, you'd probably be just fine either way. But even the fact that you're asking this question tells me that you're very wise and probably very frugal in terms of taking any money out of the firm. So sometimes a lot of it just comes from the intent. There's going to be people that look at it in the stand, they're trying to justify every purchase they've made of saying I want to reward myself, versus this person who's asking a question that feels guilty for making one personal purchase after 15 years. And that's very different. Yeah. Our colleague and also a member in the Crisp Coach program, Alexander Shinara, very, very similar story, builds this massively successful firm in Alabama. Now it's over 9 figures in revenue. And only recently, this was just a few years ago. I mean, it's been the 20 plus years. Only recently did he buy his first Rolex.
Yeah.
And he felt even a little guilty about it. I'm like, Alex, absolutely, man. If there's a person on this earth that deserves that thing, it's definitely you. Just recognize there's nothing wrong with getting yourself something nice and celebrating a milestone, especially when you've got that type of mindset where you've always been reinvesting, always reinvesting, always reinvesting. And the good thing even about a watch, right? And I even say this kind of wearing this watch, to me, watches have been milestone pieces. And it's this thing that you wear on you every day. And it's less about, again, I don't know the motivations of this person getting the watch, but I find for people who really love watches, they look down their wrist and it's just a reminder of that milestone, of all the work that they put in, right? It's not for anybody else. Most people don't even, they don't know watches. They couldn't even tell you what it is or what it's all about, but it's something that you do for yourself. I will tell you, we've had a couple of these milestones now. There's nothing wrong with rewarding yourself in the big picture.
Yes.
In the big picture. Yeah, I'd say congratulations. Keep pushing. If this 30K Rolex now sets you up for the next 8 figures, to kind of keep pushing forward, then amazing, amazing investment. But if you're looking for
your blessing,
my blessing here, I'd say from everything you described in blood, sweat, and tears, 15 plus years, I don't think there's anything wrong with you getting yourself a nice watch. Go out to dinner as well. Sounds like you've already gotten back to work and keep pushing ahead. So as far as I'm concerned, I think this one's just fine.
All right. And to round us out with question number 3 today, probably going to butcher part of this. I recently treated myself to a high-end sports car, a Lamborghini Huracan. If you must know, after hitting a huge milestone in my firm. But now I'm worried about how my team perceives it. I don't want them thinking I'm throwing money around while they're grinding away. How do you handle having nice things without your team feeling resentful or judging your success?
First of all, hell yeah, brother or sister, right? I don't know if it's male or female, but either way, that is an awesome car. And I'm a car guy. That Lamborghini Huracan, nice.
Don't even know what it is.
Nice. It's cool. It's cool. And,
I believe
it's
it.
funny. Like some people, they buy cars to impress women, and it's usually like only like the guys who even know what the cars are, right? Is the question around like, okay, you feel guilty or worried the team's resenting you? So I actually have a story on this. This is fascinating. So it depends on how you treat your team. I remember a few years ago we were visiting an office, a law firm. This is a prospective client. We had not decided whether we were going to work with this person yet. And I remember pulling up to their office, and there was actually a Lamborghini. It wasn't a Huracan yet. I think it was like a Lamborghini Diablo. But it was sitting in the parking lot. I was like, okay, this is pretty cool, right? And then we go inside their office. It's like, I mean, it was a mess, right? It was all old technology. The desks were busted. There were stains on the floor. It looked like a third world country. I'll just put it that way, like inside that firm. And I was confused. I was like, wait a second, you got this Lamborghini outside. They position themselves as a world-class law firm, and then you're coming inside and everything is old and dated. Everyone's sitting on all these old computers and everything looks just like
the
busted.
blinds are like
the blinds
broken,
are all
yeah.
broken. I'm like, what's going on? And then we meet with the firm owner. So we go like, all right, okay, so we're here to meet with this person. I don't want to give away their name because
Yeah, we're not going to do that.
yeah, even though I kind of want to. And we're like, okay, well, his office is, kind of back here. And they walked us back there. And as much as the whole office looked very dated, his office was brand spanking new. New furniture. It looked sleek and modern. Man, it looked pretty cool. And I was disgusted. I was disgusted by this whole scenario because the thought in my mind was like, okay, you're living large here and it looks like your team's struggling and suffering, right? You're rolling in a Lamborghini, like they're all on old equipment, all the desks and everything looks beat to shit. You got you got stains on the floor. Like, I mean, what's going on here, right? So needless to say, we obviously did not end up working with this individual. But I think in that standpoint, if you're putting you ahead of your team, right, that's probably not the right decision. In my mind, it's like, okay, once everyone's taken care of, everyone's good, right? They've got the resources they need. They got the support they need. They've got like benefits, et cetera. Like you're paying them fairly. Then it's like, okay, now you can start taking care of yourself. And again, it's almost like it goes, okay, let's feed, you got the business, you got the team, and then you're always last, right? Like you're always the last one. I mean, if you do it right, at least from my perspective, you're the last one to eat. Okay, so it's like for every dollar that comes in, once that dollar's wrung dry, it's like, okay, then you get the little whatever remains, right? Now, I know there's different schools of thought on this, especially a lot of the profit first people, where they think, okay, well, we're going to pull out the profit first, and then we're going to, whatever money's left, then that's what we're going to spend on the firm. And that can make sense, especially when you're later focusing on profit maximization. But when it comes to like growing a practice, in some respects, I feel like it's very selfish. If you're working with people, and these are people that have decided they're going to invest their time and their energy and their careers in helping support this vision that you have, I think it's important to make sure that you are supporting them and vice versa. So I guess cautionary tale there that if you got the Lamborghini Huracan, which is all, like I said, badass, that's an awesome, awesome car. If your team isn't taken care of and everything's old and busted and they don't have the support that they need, then yeah, I mean, you're going to roll up and it's probably not going to be the right look and it's probably going to harbor some resentment. I mean, for sure. Alternatively, let's say your team is taken care of. Let's say you pay people fairly, you've got the benefits, you've been grinding and you get this Lamborghini Huracan, because there's always another side to the story. I would look at it from the standpoint and say like, well, if you feel like they're going to resent you, whose problem is that? Is it their problem or is it your problem? And in many respects, I'd say like, look, this is, again, under the asterisk of everyone's taken care of, you treat them well, you invest in the firm is growing. Again, you continue to invest. It's been many, many years. You got yourself something nice, right? You shouldn't be bashful. Like maybe you like cars, maybe you like, maybe you like taking trips, whatever. There's nothing wrong. You started this business. You took all the risk. You've made, so much sacrifice. Anytime you've been wrong, you've lost money. And you, against these odds that are not very good, you built a successful firm. And you've supported the livelihoods of so many other individuals. You've helped your clients win. You've impacted your community. And you happen to like cars. So you go out and buy yourself something nice. And if you roll up and your team resents you, well, maybe it's a problem with them. Because I would say like, if I rolled up in any kind of car today and someone resents that, I think, okay, that's probably the wrong person. It's probably the wrong mindset, because you want to be around people that are inspired. They themselves look at it and say, oh, wow, okay, cool. Like if this person got this, maybe I can do it too. I always looked at it as like if a human being did something, another human on this earth, then I could do it too. Right? It's human. I was always inspired, just on my way up. And when I saw someone that had, something nice, I didn't think, like just they got it from their daddy or, just like they just got lucky and I'm unlucky and I've been dealt a poor hand. I said, well, if they can do it, I can do it. That's inspiring. Like, is it better for you to roll up in a, in an old, like busted pickup truck with all the tires blown out and the windows all cracked? And it's like, okay, now there's humility.
Yeah,
right?
Is that going to be better? In that person.
Yeah. Are they going to look at it and say, wow, this is the leader I want to follow? Again, it's not to say that, it comes back to, if you like cars and you want to reward yourself, and if the team presents you, well, maybe they should be inspired. Maybe they should be excited. Maybe you should have like lawyers in the office. They see you roll up with something and say, look, this is what it can look like if you dedicate yourself to something for a long enough period of time. And if you have exceptional results. Like, I always share this with our team. I'm like, look, over the years, our parking lot has gotten more and more, the cars have evolved, right? I tell the sales team all the time, like, I want everyone rolling up in like Bentleys and Rolls Royces and, Ferraris and Lamborghinis. And if that's what's happening, it's like they're all doing an amazing job. Absolutely. Right? There's nothing wrong with that if that's what they like.
Yeah.
And this is not a material thing. This is more so from the standpoint of like,
reward.
You want people to be successful. You want the people in your firm to be successful. Like, maybe turn them all into millionaires. Great. I think that's amazing. And they can choose how they, they spend their money. Maybe they donate it all to charity if that's what they want to do. Right? Or maybe they buy themselves something cool. And because they are inspired. Now, I will say, we've had a number of cars over the years, and I'm sure people have had their opinions on that, but I would say that, as much as I like cars, I like giving them away more, and we've given away every single one. So, how many has it been, like 18? 18 cars
lost count
over the
at
last
this
several
point.
years that we've given away to clients and team members. And these days, the reward for me is more so like giving it away, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with it. Absolutely nothing wrong. And again, let's just clarify, if your team's not taken care of and everything, all the equipment and the resources, they don't have what they need to be able to do their job effectively, everything's all busted and old, you got stains on the floor, and then you're rolling up and living large, that sends the wrong message 100%. 100%. But once you've got those bases covered and you're investing in the firm and the firm is growing, there's nothing wrong with you also rolling up in that sweet Lamborghini Huracan. Shoot, maybe you get a bunch of them and you roll up in a different one every day and it's a different color. Right? That's inspiring too. Maybe you got a whole garage of these people, of these cars. I don't know. Maybe that excites and inspires your team, especially as you have new lawyers coming in.
Yeah.
Right? There's nothing, I think sometimes money is demonized and like people look at it and they say, oh, it's the root of all evil. But I'll tell you, like, being a great lawyer and making a ton of money should not be mutually exclusive things, right? When you are helping others succeed and you're helping them win and you're able to help people in your community and serve so many clients, you're helping your team succeed, you're helping them grow and develop in their careers, they're able to buy homes, they're able to pay off debt, and you're impacting so many people, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you becoming more well-resourced. And in fact, in terms of serving your clients, probably the more resourced lawyer oftentimes is able to provide better representation. You have a better support team, you're able to invest more resources in the funding of the actual cases themselves. You can focus on investing more in terms of the firm infrastructure, in terms of technology and software, like just the entire client experience. So there's nothing wrong with making money. And if you need to be in a room full of people that aren't going to give you a hard time for making money, then come to the Game Changer Summit this November in Atlanta, Georgia. Go to chrissummit.com, because that's not going to be a place where you're going to feel demonized for working your ass off and making a great impact and a great contribution and benefiting financially as well. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
I think that's the perfect ending for today.
All right. We'll see you next time.
You've been listening to the Game Changing Attorney podcast with Michael Mogill. If you found this episode valuable, here are 3 free ways that we can help you grow your law firm. Number 1, download the first chapter of Michael's book absolutely free at gamechangingattorney.com. Number 2, you can shoot Michael a text at 404-531-7691 and ask him any question you'd like. You might just hear the answer on the next episode. And finally, number 3, if you can leave this podcast a 5-star review, it will help us gain access to more influential thought leaders and bring their lessons learned here to you. For more information on this episode, see the show notes in your podcast app or visit legalpodcast.com.